Hey YouTube, it's Charlie from Reader Turned Writer, and today I'm just sharing a writing update, and I am just going to show you some of the Bookish shirts that I've gotten recently. My kids are in the living room playing, so if you can hear them, I don't want to turn on a show or something to try and keep them quiet, so they're just out there playing with blocks. It's been a while since I have done an update. It has been a rough couple of months for my family. We've gone through some emotional stuff, just a lot of family things that have happened that have been a little bit hard to deal with, and then some physical things as well that have kind of pushed us into survival mode, but we are seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, and I'm feeling a little bit better today, and so I'm just wanting to jump on and share a video. A lot of the videos that I have shared recently I recorded in December or the very beginning of January, and so it's been nice that I had those recorded so I can just edit them and upload them. But today it's actually me, and I'm recording it today, and I'm going to upload it today, so that's exciting. Getting to the shirts, so a long time ago, I don't even know how long ago, my sister-in-law shared with me that she was buying like Bookish t-shirts that had like kind of nerdy sayings on them, and I thought that was such a good idea. Definitely fits kind of my fashion sense, but I basically just never buy clothes. When I was 19, I published a Date Ideas book for LDS teens through Deseret Book, and it was ebook only, and I don't make a lot of money off of it, of course. Every quarter I'll make like 1 or 2 sales and make like $4 to $8 or something, and so it's been maybe over a year. I don't know how long. It's been quite a while since I got paid out, but very recently, at the end of the quarter, they sent me my royalty, whatever it's called, where they tell you how much you made, and I had reached the threshold for paying out, so I got $27, so I decided to go on and buy some Bookish t-shirts. So I just wanted to show you. So this one is "Bookmarks are for quitters." This one's actually my favorite because it's the most form-fitting, and that is more my style. The other ones are a little bit more loose, but that's okay. I might replace them eventually, but this one is just a girl in love with her books, and I really liked the style of this. It's very simple with just the words. I'm actually not a fan of like the extra stuff on there, but it's hard to find Bookish t-shirt quotes without like extra stuff on it. Like this one has Bookish books on it with the quote, and I figured it was fine. I'm not addicted to reading. I can stop as soon as I finish this book. I thought that was really cute. And then the last one I got was actually one of my favorites as well, because I just thought it was a really cute little, like it's a heartbeat, but it has a book on it, and I thought that was adorable. So those are the 4 t-shirts that I bought recently that are Bookish, and I was just excited. I thought it was really fun. So moving on to talking about how my writing has been going. So I've been doing okay. I have kept my habit of writing every day, and some days I've done really good at setting the timer and writing for 30 minutes, and other days I just wrote for 5 minutes to keep the habit. But the important thing is that I have kept my habit, and I feel really good about the writing that I've done. Since I last recorded, I don't think I had quite finished the ending of Rapunzel that I was rewriting, but I have finished that now, and I also have edited some, and I went through and I also made a new outline for my husband. I wanted him to read it, but he wanted to have an outline so he could look for like big picture stuff first, and then after he does that, then he's going to read the whole thing from start to finish fairly quickly for me. And then after that, I'll be ready for beta readers after I make any changes that he suggests there. One update with my Rapunzel book, which is a little bit discouraging. My husband and I were talking about what might keep my book from getting published, because I am planning on querying for Rapunzel, but I'm not planning on getting it published. I wouldn't be embarrassed if it was published. I know that it has a lot of flaws, and I'm sure it has flaws that I don't even know yet, because I am still a beginner, and like my writing group, they really helped me improve it, but they're also all beginners. We're all kind of at the same stage of writing and learning how to edit and different things like that. I'm happy with where it's at, and I feel really proud of how far it's come. Even just finishing the draft was something that I was really proud of, because it's something I'd never done before. But having edited it, this is the 5th draft that I'm now working on. Once my husband gives me his feedback, it'll be the 5th draft, and I am so happy with how far it has come, and I think that it is a decent book. Like I said, I know it has flaws, and I basically know what the negative reviews would say, I think, if I did publish it, because it is far from perfect. I am still definitely a new writer, and I'm learning how to write still. Some of my prose needs work, my characters need work, things like that, you know. But my plot is solid, my beats are really good, my character arc I feel is very decent, and the characters aren't bad either. And I don't know, I am happy with where it's at, and I wouldn't be embarrassed to have other people read it knowing that I had written it, even with the flaws. But my husband and I were talking about like what might keep it from getting published, and one thing that we realized is my characters are, my main character is 16, and she has 2 friends that are 16 and one that is 19. A sibling of one of her other friends, and they're kind of like a friend group in the book. They're the main friend group. So it's YA technically because of the age and some of the things that they do, and it does have a tiny bit of romance in it, not a ton. But as we were talking about it, and we kind of were looking at what makes a book middle grade versus YA, and we were looking in the book Magic Words, which is a book for writing for kids and stuff, and it kind of lays out generally what they look for thematically and different things like that, besides just age, in deciding middle grade versus YA. And my book is definitely a middle grade. It has a middle grade feel to it. It's very focused on family and finding her place, creating a new family, that kind of thing. And I think that if I really wanted to get it published, I would have to make it middle grade, and it would change the book a lot. It would be a huge thing, a huge deal to do that. So that was a little bit discouraging after all of the work that I put into it, to realize that. My next book that I'm working on is a YA, and it is definitely YA. I have the outline really solid, and it's definitely YA, my Cinderella con artist book. But my Rapunzel retelling is middle grade with characters that are too old, basically. And part of the reason it would take a lot of work is because they do things that older kids would do, not that 12-year-olds would do. And I feel like it would change their characters a lot too. I'm not sure exactly how it would change it, but my plan right now is to just continue forward with my original plan. I'm having my husband read it, then beta readers, and then I'm going to query it, because I really just need the practice querying, and I've had a lot of practice editing with this book already. If an agent were to say, you know, I like this book, but you're going to need to fix it to make it middle grade, then I would put the work in. But I don't really think that would happen. Honestly, I don't think it would get signed and published, even if I changed it to middle grade, because of some of the flaws that I'm just still learning to write. This is my very first book. And so I think that I'm going to do that so I can get the practice with querying and beta readers and all of that, but move on to my next book, which because it has kind of a good hook with like the con artist Cinderella stuff, I really think that I would love to get that one published and signed with an agent and everything, if I could. And obviously you can't control it. I know the average is 3 books. The 3rd book that you query gets signed, and obviously that's an average, so some people are more than that, and that might not even be the 3rd book that you've written. This is only my 2nd book that I've written. I know Brandon Sanderson, he'd written 12 before he sold one, although I think he sold his 6th. And I know it's taken a lot of authors, it's taken them 10 years. I know Gwendolyn Van Drenen and Brandon Sanderson are both 10 years, and I think Gail Carson Levine might also be close to that time period of when they started querying versus when they actually got published, was a 10-year period. And so I know that it's a long process, and so I'm not like staking it on it. Honestly, for me, looking at like the age of my kids and stuff, our youngest will be 15 in about 15 years, you know, when my husband and I have our next baby. And so what we are planning is to homeschool. And so if I were to get published in 10 years, then that would put my youngest at 10, and I feel like I would still be really busy with homeschooling, really involved. Where when they're teenagers, you are generally less involved. You're just more as they're like a sounding board or for ideas and encouragement and things like that. Where 10, I feel like I will still be sitting down every day at the table with them and planning things for them, and you know what I mean, like just more involved, which means more time. And as they reach the teenager adult stage, then you have a little bit more space. And you know, besides the 10-year-old, I would also have a 13-year-old, a 15-year-old, and a 17-year-old. And so it just feels like life would be really crazy in 10 years, where in 15 years our youngest would be 15 and the rest would be adults. And I feel like that would be a much more manageable stage of life for me to put in a lot of time towards like a writing career. And so my goal is actually currently to get published in about 15 years. That would be ideal for me. So yeah, I have a lot of time to improve my craft and to really work on the querying process and everything like that. Anyway, that was a really big tangent. Now we're going to go back to what I've been working on with Rapunzel. So I was going to start the first draft of Rapunzel this month, and I originally was like, oh, I'll start at the very beginning of the month, but I was just really struggling with that. I kept putting it off to work on Rapunzel or to work on backstory stuff and different things like that. But this week I finally sat down and I started working on the first draft, and it's actually been more fun than I thought it would be. When I was writing the Rapunzel draft, I really had to force myself through it. It was a really hard process for me. And this one hasn't been as hard so far, and of course I'm in the beginning, and so the middle might be a little bit harder for me. But I think that a couple things have helped with that. I have a really clear outline, and for me, I just kind of know where I'm going and the things that I'm going to reveal later on, and that is really helpful for me. It like lowers my anxiety. I know some writers get really excited to sit down and they can just go anywhere, but for me it's very makes me very anxious when that happens. And so for me, having like a direction that I am going, knowing what I'm going to write in the next scene, even though of course, you know, I don't have the details and I don't know all of the character, everything, and you know what I mean? Like I'm still garden writing in some aspects, or pantsing in some aspects, but I know where I'm supposed to end up and I know what I'm going to write in the next scene, and that's really helpful for me. And then I think the other thing that has been helpful is that instead of trying to write 500 words, I've just been setting a timer for 30 minutes. And some days, like one of the days this week I got like 470 words or something, so I didn't even quite hit 500, but that's fine. But every other day I actually exceeded it by at least 100. More than 500 words. And so it's really helpful for me to not feel like, it's like instead of feeling like I have to pump out words, I can just take my time. And I think I'm generally, I'm a faster writer because I don't think I tend to sit and think very much about what I'm doing. And part of that might be because I have my outline already, but it is nice when I'm writing to be able to sit and stop and think for a minute, or to go, okay, well, I don't know what this person's name is. Let's go research names and figure out a good name for this. Or, oh, I can't think of this word, I'm gonna go look at synonyms or something like that, and not feel like I'm wasting my time because I'm not getting words down on the page. And just that more relaxed setting is good for me, I think. I think the less that I can take anxiety, or the more I can take anxiety out of the picture, the more I enjoy working on my book. And drafting has been a more positive experience for me so far this time around. I have the prologue done and I'm currently working on chapter 1 with the opening image. I have 2 characters, so that I am kind of, one of the characters doesn't have as many beats as the other one. There's one that is more prominent, but both of them have a prologue and an opening image. And so it's been really fun. Something else that I'm doing with my Cinderella book is I'm doing it in third person. Rapunzel, I started in third person, and I just felt my natural inclination was to switch to first person, and so I ended up writing it in first person with a couple of third person POVs that just randomly throughout the book. And this one I'm doing all third person, partially because I actually don't like reading books that are first person, that have multiple points of view, especially when they're the same gender. It makes it hard to know who you're following, and so I thought that it might also be good practice for me as well to try writing in third person and just see how it goes. And if I have to change to first person because it doesn't go well, then I don't know, we'll see. But so far I think it's going okay. And the other thing that I've noticed is that I still have the thoughts of like, oh no, this isn't good. What I'm writing is not good. But it's not as hard for me to say, you know, it's okay. I can fix it later. I'm just getting words down. It's like my instinct is still there of like, oh no, I have to make it good, you know, but I know now, not just in my head, but I like know from experience that my writing group will help me make it better, that I can edit it. And I also, because of how much I've edited Rapunzel and because I can see how far it's come, I am very confident in my ability to edit. And I know that I am constantly increasing my ability to write and to edit and to become a better writer. And so because of that, it's a lot easier for me to actually sit down and write. And that might be something else that has made this draft a little bit easier. So it's really fun. to be drafting. I really love my Cinderella books so far. It's probably going to be more of a baby for me than my Rapunzel one. I think I have about 1,500 words written on it so far is all, because I did spend some of this week doing backstory stuff for one of my characters that I had known what her backstory was, but I hadn't actually written out any scenes for it, and I really wanted to have that out before I started writing this, just so I would know my characters better. I know that one drawback to outlining is that your characters can feel a little bit more cardboard cutout type characters, and so I did do quite a bit of like free writing with my characters before I started writing this, and we'll see if that affects it at all. I don't know, I'm just kind of trying stuff still because I am early in my writing experience. Anyway, I'm gonna get off now because I'm kind of rambling and this video is way longer than most of my update videos, but hopefully I will see you next week for another update video. I would love to hear what you're reading this month or your favorite book. I would love to hear how your writing is going and your writing, what you're doing with your writing goals and everything. Yeah, let me know in the comments below so that we can chat and connect. If you liked this video, don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe for lots of bookish content. And thank you so much for watching my video. I will see you in the next one.